Hi, it's Johannes from Noisebud, and today I'm posting an update for Sub. It's Sub 2.5, and well, it kind of looks like the last version, but there are some huge differences. As you can see, there's a new thing here. Oh, you can't see my mouse. There, my mouse showed up. There we go. As you can see, there's a thing called Shape 2, and we're actually gonna start to talk about that. Then I'm gonna talk about the other changes, and then this is kind of a walkthrough of the plugin. While I'm talking about the new stuff, I also gonna mention how you use the things that always been there. So it's kind of a walkthrough of the whole plugin. Alright, let's start talking about Shape 2. This is a wave shaper, but it's a wave shaper for the frequencies that are below the crossover that you set with the crossover. So in this case, with the setting, it's the frequencies below 60 Hz that will be manipulated using wave shaper. You don't have access to it. You can't put your own nodes in the wave shaper. You have something called compress, which changes the wave shaper in that way, and you have altitude, which you can use to either bring down the peaks or the waveform, or you can actually boost it. You don't get a visual feedback of this, but this because as you go to the right side of, if you go to the right from 12 o'clock on the altitude, then it turns into just a volume knob, a simple multiplier of the low end. So then it just becomes kind of a volume or gain control. So it doesn't change the wave shaper. It's using the wave shaper as it is. So this is just so you can boost things further. And why did I add this thing? Well, I think you will realize that when I start to show this. And it works together with the boost and the peak control. It's actually placed after the peak control, which means that the peak control doesn't always work as expected when you use Shape 2, but you have the thing with the wave shaper is that you get such a control of the waveform that the peak control isn't necessary really. You pretty much can leave it at max and then control it with the Shape 2. But it depends on what you want to do. Alright, let's start by overuse this the way that I usually do when I demo stuff. So we're gonna start with, I have an old Noisebud track that's from the album that's supposed to sound a bit punky, which means that we cut away all the low end, so there's pretty much no sub frequencies on the album. But we're going to try to see if we can bring something back. It's pretty much high pass, so it's not much down there. But I will show you something, a way you can use sub. So let's have a listen how it sounds. As you can hear, there's some kind of hum, sine wave down there somewhere, around 50 Hertz probably. And there's a kick that's lacking low end. But when I'm using sub, the way it's set up right now, and just boosting, using the boost function, I get this, it's just yeah, it doesn't make anything better. So what we're gonna try to do is to use the dynamic section and just hit the yeah, pretty much the transient of the kick, and see if we can just make it a bit punchier. And we're gonna do that using both boost, peak control, and the shape 2. So here we go. Just have fun watching me tweak stuff.
Never know when to say yes or when to say no. Even though I did a pretty good job myself, they fucked me up to the very last cell. Of course I didn't know, cause I wasn't really there. How could I know, cause I wasn't really there.
I probably would have continued to tweak stuff, but you can hear that I can actually just find that attack of the kick and just boost that up, even though this is a stereo file. And yeah, and pretty much control. As you can see on the end, when I use the peak control to back off the peaks, I could set so that the max peaks of the new regenerated sub-bass is pretty much at the same peak value as the original, but it just feels much punchier, and yeah, and like if there's a lot more information there. Let's try just to use the new shape 2 control. I'll leave the clipper in. I don't know if it's needed, but let's have it there. Yeah, okay. Let's do the same thing. Reset it to the default settings. And let's try it on this. Since there's a sine wave down and yeah, in the sub frequencies in this track, this won't work with this track, but I'm using it. Yeah, I'm just using it to demo how powerful the shape 2 is, and using wave shaping. And the thing with the wave shaper is that normally when you use a wave shaper, it adds a lot of distortion. But since the whole point with using sub is that it removes any distortion, even if the tweaks that you're doing are pretty, yeah, usually it would produce a stupid amount of distortion, but sub just removes that, and that makes a wave shaper a perfect compressor in this situation, because the thing with a wave shaper is that you get such extreme control, way better control than any compressor. The negative part is that it will completely destroy all the dynamics. So the wave shaper or the Shape 2 is something you reach for when you need to control something really. You have a low end that's just flapping around. Then you grab the Shape 2. So let's play around a bit with that. And let's I've started in deactivated, so I'm gonna activate it, and we're gonna remove the dynamics as well. Here we go. As you can hear, the first thing that happens when you activate the wave shaper is that the low end kind of disappears, or at least get attenuated. And that's because it will take over the whole, the shape of the waveform below the crossover. It will just take over completely. And it will force the peaks to the max value of the wave shaper, which is a bit lower than the peaks for it's not 0 decibels full scale, so it's just a couple of decibels lower, and that's because I found it easier to set up that way. Otherwise, it got a bit crazy. So that's the first thing you'll notice, but you'll also notice how easy it is to bring that energy back once you start to compress and using the altitude control. So here we go. That's just Shape 2. And as you can hear, it removes the dynamics. It just evens everything out. Sometimes that's what you want, then this is amazing. And sometimes you want to keep the dynamics. But you can still use it with the dynamics activated and just use it in the attack as I did in the beginning when I used all the controls. Let's have a listen how it sounds on some different material. So thank you, Jonas, for letting me use your old demos. This is a great track called Little Laughing Star.
I just couldn't make it so close upon your soul. But this is not regret creating this tune. We share the loneliness as we share the sky. Ooh, laughing star. That's who you are. You said the law of sense made you eat forbidden doubt. With the absence of desertion at the sunniest hour.
The reason why I choose this song to demo this is because we're gonna use sub without Shape 2, and then we're gonna do it with Shape 2, so you can hear that it's just a function that will enable you to take things way further than with the former version of Sub. So this was with the Shape 2, and now I'm gonna deactivate it and see if we can get to something close.
Laughing star. Laughing star, that's who you are. You said the law of sins made you eat forbidden dough. With the absence of desertion at the sunniest hour. The law of sense made you eat forbidden fruit. I never quite enjoyed the benefit of rule. And maybe 'cause we're different, and maybe 'cause we're true. Ooh, laughing star.
Yeah, as you can hear, it's a extreme compression down there, and now I'm controlling the peaks. If I stop using the peak control and just listen to how much low end we're adding, let's do that just for fun. It's gonna sound horrible, but let's do that.
Laughing star.
It starts to distort. It's because the output of the DAW it exceeds 0 decibel full scale in the DAW. Let's control it with the altitude. There we go.
Laughing star.
Actually, let's remove everything else and just use the Shape 2 in this track as well.
Laughing star. That's who you are. You said the law of sins made you eat forbidden dough. With the absence of desertion at the sunniest hour. The law of sense made you eat forbidden fruit.
Let's try it with another track as well. So I'm just gonna pause for a minute and load up another track. So see you in a bit. All right, we're back with another. This is an unreleased Noisebud track from like 15 years ago. So we're gonna use Shape 2 we'll start by just using Shape 2 so you can hear, because this track is more like a, I don't know, it's not dubstep, but it's kind of influenced by dubstep. So it should have some low end. And we're gonna use Shape 2 to compress that. So I'm just gonna start to play, and we're starting with everything on default positions, and Shape 2 is not activated. So you will hear how the low end first goes away when I activate it, then we'll start to shape the low end. And we set it to 100, I don't know. Yeah, let's use 100. I probably wouldn't do that. 70, 60, 50. But for demonstration purposes, let's use 100.
The grain is greatest scam on earth. You're in it.
As you can hear, it's just really simple to just control the sub frequencies with Shape 2. It's just pretty much activated and dial in something that looks really extreme but actually sounds pretty natural because all the distortion is gone, so it just works as a compressor. Now we're gonna see if we can do things, because the problem with just using the wave shaper is that it's a bit too extreme. You can hear that in passages where the low end's supposed to go away. It's kind of too much of those places. So we're going to use the dynamic section, and we're going to shape when the dry and the wet signal is used. So let's start somewhere in the middle. There we go.
Scam on earth. You're in it. That's the reason why we not changing. So you keep on. Making money out of nothing, money masters. Making money out of nothing, money changers. Making money. REED, that's the reason why we not changing. So you keep on running for your money. Running for your money. Running for your money. Running for your money.
There are a lot of things to tweak before you get everything right, so that it works over a whole track. But you get there eventually. All right, that's the Shape 2 control. So it's just another module that makes this plugin even more extreme and usable and fun. All right. Let's talk about the other changes. As you can see, I put numbers under every knob that so it says 0 milliseconds to 200 milliseconds in the delay, for example. Same at the release and all the other controls. Down here there are percentages from 0 to 100%. That's just a graphic thing, and it was requested by some users so that you kind of know where you're at. Another change is that it used to, the fastest attack time used to be 20 milliseconds. Now you can go down to 1 milliseconds. I had it at 20 milliseconds to avoid modulation distortion, because when you're using really fast compressor settings, in especially the low end, then you get modulation distortion. But Sub removes most of that distortion, so it's you can get away with it. But use your ears. These meters, they are extremely good at detecting things like that. That's changed. Another change is that the high pass, as you can see, there are other new values that you can set. My camera is messing up. Let's remove that. All right. So the new thing, why I changed those, that's because the last version, or all sub versions up to this 2.5 version, had a set filter that you could just change the frequency in it, but it was the same filter. Now every filter, when you change the setting, it will change to a completely new filter. So every filter is set to work at that specific frequency. That will add a little crackling sound as you change the frequency, because the plugin will recalculate the latency compensation, but it's not meant to be automated anyway. So it's supposed to, if you need it, then you just set it and it will work better. It kind of took away too much low end in the last version, but now I think it's more usable. I'm gonna continue to tweak those to make them even better, but I think they work. It works way better this way. All right, I actually think, no, there's one more thing that's new as well. You can see that there's a meter around the dry high pass control. So, and it has nothing to do with the high pass, but it has to do with when the dry signal is used. Because I had users that thought that it was a bit confusing when the dry and wet signal is used when you use the dynamic section. And I also did another thing that was also requested. It's when you deactivate the dynamic section, you get a little red cross over the controls that are not in use when the dynamic section is not activated. So as soon as you activate that, then you can see that those controls get activated, kind of, so you know that, all right, these settings are not doing anything if the dynamic section is not activated. So that is, let's just have a look at the meter around the dry high pass knob, so you can see how that works. Actually, let's do some crazy settings. I'm gonna do something with the dynamics and just cut away all the low end when it's not activated. Let's see. Let's just remove the sine bass line and just see if we can isolate the kick, pretty much.
REED, that's the reason why we not changing. So you keep on running for your money, running for your money.
So as you can see, every time the kick hits and the plugin gets activated because of the dynamic section, the meter around the dry high pass goes down to 0, so it's not used, and then it goes back right up, so you can clearly see when it's used. You could see that before by looking at the release control, the meter around the release knob here, but this is easier. This is just faster. Now I have visual feedback for both when it's activated or not, and yeah, it's just easier to have its own place to see how that works. Let's increase the release time so you can see that these two controls, the meter around the release knob and the dry high pass, pretty much mirror each other. So you could tell with the old meter, but I actually find it easier this way as well. So it's not just users, it's even me who made the plugin that thinks that's better. I think those are all the changes, and I guess this, even if it wasn't really a complete walkthrough, it's still, I think you get an idea what you can do with this plugin. And I hope you like the update and download it. It's available on Patreon right now, and I will create a demo as well, so you can get the demo if you don't want to pay the Patreon fee before trying it out. And then I haven't updated the manual, so I will do that as well. Let's see if my camera is... No, I froze. All right. See you later with the next plugin, and have a great night. Bye bye.